the dental IQ of Canadian patients increase, and can you share some statistics with us?
Over the course of the 18 years that I've been a part of the dental profession, I've seen the patients become more educated with regards to their own treatment, dental options, and insurance, dental insurance itself. When a patient comes in to see a dentist, they are graded and they're examined, they're assessed. A treatment plan is formulated, which is then phased, and then it's presented to the patient either by the dentist himself or by a treatment coordinator. And the questions that come from patients now are completely different from about 18 years ago, because they'll challenge each option that is presented to them. They want to know more of what how the options are going to benefit them, and most importantly, what is going to be covered by the insurance. So their dental IQ, I would say, over the course of my career especially, has increased tremendously. And patients in general have appreciated each and every the time that we take as dental professionals in educating them even further.
So what brought you? What brought you into dental profession, and what do you think of that decision?
Well, my decision was based on my personal experience. I visited a dentist, and I had such a good experience as a patient that I pursued the career in dental, in dentistry. I started out as an assistant, and then when I saw that there are other opportunities where I can interact more with patients and make more of a difference, then I pursued a career in dental hygiene, and ultimately I pursued my career further in restorative dental hygiene. And I would say, reflecting on my decision, it's a positive reflection, and I enjoy every minute of it. Especially it's rewarding when and it's gratifying when you see that you can make a difference in a patient's overall health just by helping them with their oral health.
Okay, I want to ask you a question, which wasn't a part of this. If I was to take away somebody's smile, what remains of them?
It would be a shallow. Because, like we know, and everybody knows, the first impression you make is with your smile. So your smile portrays your mood, your smile portrays your personality, and if you take that away from somebody, you would have to dig deeper to spend more time with that person to get to know that person, their emotions, to study them better. So you take away somebody's smile, you're really taking away a big part of them.
So would that mean your passion is driven by contributing to such people that may not have the most perfect smiles and enriching their lives? Is that what drives you?
Well, definitely, because everybody, we're humans, and a big part of being successful in this world is to portray positivity, and health is a big part of being positive. When you have a healthy smile, a nice, bright, white, healthy smile, you will receive positivity from parties around you. So definitely that would be, because I can make a difference in that area of a person's life, it's rewarding, it's gratifying, and especially when you make that difference and they come back and report that to you. That's even, it's a bigger impact.
For sure. Do you run a profession or a business? Is this a profession or a business?
Of course it's a profession. Every single staff member that works in a dental office is professionally trained, and we do so because that's what patients expect. With regards to a business aspect of it, of course, we have obligations. We first and foremost have an obligation to the patient to provide them with the best technology, the best materials that we can offer, and in order to do so, we need to make sure that it's available to them. And so, yes, it's a professionally run business.
So, Meena, how do you distinguish between ethics and profits?
Ethics is a cornerstone of the dental profession. From the time the dental professionals graduate, they take an oath for the ethics and jurisprudence every year. It's mandatory for them to revisit the ethics and jurisprudence modules. And that is to ensure that they're providing the patients with the utmost quality and ethical treatment. With regards to profits, we do have to run a profitable business in order to provide the same patients with the treatment that they deserve, which is with the best technology, with the best materials, and obviously in order to do that, it has to be a profitable business. Can ethics and profits coexist? Absolutely. There's no reason why it shouldn't. For any profession, that would be easily manageable, especially if the dental professional is following the ethics and jurisprudence they graduated with.
So during my childhood, I've always wanted to be a part of the medical profession. And during my school years studying health sciences, I started to focus more on dentistry. I like the aspect of dentistry that I can make a contribution to someone's smile and overall enhance their self-esteem and self-confidence. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever been in a gathering where somebody's cracking a joke and right at the punchline, when everyone's laughing, someone covers their mouth with their hand to cover their smile? Why? Because they're embarrassed. They're embarrassed to show their smile. This is where I wanted to get in there, and I wanted to be in that position to improve one's overall confidence and make them smile all the time. All in all, that makes a better person in the end. So that's why I decided to make my contribution to society by becoming a dentist. Yes, yes.
You want to come over here?
No,
Okay, it's up to you.
I don't want to distract. Dr. Ashraf, you are perhaps in a very unique position to comment on a comparison of dentistry that is available here in Canada and dentistry, because you're widely traveled, dentistry available in the rest of the world.
Yes, I've had the opportunity. I have an affiliation with the Lahore Dental College in Pakistan. My parents were immigrants, in Canada from Pakistan. I was born here in Canada, but I've kind of had the affinity to go back and to, give something back to society over there. And within the Lahore Dental College, I have done lectures and live surgical clinics. And I really, it really hit me, you know, to my heart that, you know, the students there, they longed for the ability to do what we could do here in Canada. They had the knowledge. They had all the knowledge, but they were, you know, held back because of, through, you know, not being able to have the facility, the proper facilities, and the proper high-tech equipment. So when I, you know, would go down with all of my my equipment, I would take it all down there and hold these clinics. The students were so grateful, and they just wanted to learn more and more. And like, I saw the facility, I saw the dental hospital, the conditions, you know, and now there's a lot of you know, power issues, and you know, it really came to my heart that, you know, I wanted to give something back to them for, you know, what I have learned here in Canada. Being a Canadian, you know, we really take things for granted. And, you know, like, we have the best dental care here. And the technology is here, and, you know, the dental profession is providing all these different options and all these, you know, high-end treatments for our patients. So, you know, as a patient here in Canada, as all Canadians, all of us, we really shouldn't forget that we are very fortunate to have all of these facilities for us.
Dr. Ashraf, what is the one thing that you believe a Canadian dentist can do better to serve his or her patients?
You know, as a Canadian dentist, I feel to better serve my patients, the first and utmost is to go on continuing education courses. Extensive courses, not just the weekend type courses, but proper you know, internship type courses that would train you in different procedures, state-of-the-art procedures. The field of dentistry is changing every day, and the onus is on us in the dental profession to source out these you know, new techniques and technologies. We have to provide the best for our patients. You know, at the end of the day, our patients are coming to us with their trust. And, you know, for me, I want to be there. I want to fulfill that, you know, that trust that they have for me. And that is, you know, when I go away on my courses, I'll travel anywhere. I'll travel anywhere to source, you know, from the best. And, you know, the second way that you know, one can, you know, be a good dentist, you know, for their patients would be in the facility that you have. You know, you have to have the, you know, best, you know, in technologies available to your patients, because, you know, certain procedures, you know, you require these technologies. You know, even though they are costly technologies, but you know, all in all, at the end of the day, you know, I want to walk out of the office feeling that I really have accomplished something, and I really have done everything I could do for my patients.
Maybe you give back to the society. What drives that, Dr. Ashraf?
Well, you know, being a part of this profession, I feel it's, for myself, it's an obligation for myself that I have to make a contribution to my community, to society. And, you know, it's been almost 20 years I've been providing dental care children and adults that are developmentally challenged. I have been helping, I have been providing dental care for the children and adults that are developmentally challenged in the Sunbeam Center in the Waterloo region. And for me, in the beginning, many people, would say to me, oh, how can you do that? We could never imagine to do that. But it came to my heart that when I went in there, they're just like us, the kids and the adults over there, and they needed dental care. All in all, their dental care is a slightly different kind of dental care, in that my main objective is to provide them with a good quality of life. That's the main thing. So I've been going there and doing the dental treatments for that length of time, and as long as I have the strength in me, in these two hands, I'll continue doing that. I'll continue doing that, till something happens. But for me, that's at the end of the day, this is a part of my dental. This is a part of my dental practice that I bring close to my heart. And let me tell you, I'm not the only one. There are countless number of dental professionals in all of Canada that are providing these type of services for the less fortunate, to make this world a better place.
Rolling.
So basically, dentistry is perfect union.
Not this.
Yeah. Okay. So, dentistry is the perfect union between top-notch professional service and business.
That's good. Alice?
Yeah.
Armando?
One more thing, I think, with a little bit more emphasis at the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So dentistry is a perfect union between top-notch professional service and business.
Rolling.
Rolling.
Isn't that a silly question? Our dental profession here in Canada requires us to uphold the highest standards and ethics in order to run our practices. So, ethics and profitability come hand in hand, because without ethics, our doors close. We can't run our practice anymore. So one must consider that both ethics and profitability goes hand in hand.
Sure. Yeah. So good. Yeah, I like it better that way.
Is it good, or you want me to do it?
Yeah, no, that's perfect. The last bit is one must consider. Who's considering it? Canadian dentists already followed it.
So therefore, it's a misplaced notion that if a practice is profitable, it's not ethical.
And take the course again.
I requalified myself. I did my the dental degree in India, and then I came to Canada, sat in an exam, and then I got selected in the University of Toronto program. And 2 years into the program, made us eligible to appear in the exam to be licensed as dentists in Canada. Yes, I did that 2-year program.
What were the struggles early on in your career?
Struggles were, I think, getting used to the life in a new country me and my wife together came by ourselves, but that was a big help. I think I could not have been as successful if I would have come by myself without my wife. And we shared our happinesses and sorrows together. And money was a big challenge, and not knowing too many people also wasn't very helpful. Coming from a country and big families, it was hard. And those were some of the major challenges.
What is the #1 challenge that Canadian dentistry faces today?
I think the challenges which the dentistry face is like any other profession which is facing us now is challenges of economy. And economy seems to be playing a major role in our lifestyles and in the day-to-day living. The circulation of money among everybody is the best thing about Canada, which makes everybody be able to afford even the basic necessities of life, which are taken for granted in our society here, and definitely in a lot of other societies in the world. But economy, I think, is our main challenge right now, and this is what I think is our main thing that we have to worry about.
How would you compare Canadian dentistry to other dentistry around the world?
Well, I can say this with full confidence that Canadian dentistry is some of the best dentistry done in anywhere around the world, and I totally can 100% assure that I think that Canadian dentistry, in my opinion, is the best dentistry in the world.
Is dentistry expensive in a private clinic?
That's an interesting question, because then we have to, it brings about a lot of other questions that we have to ask. Is our houses expensive? Are cars expensive?
So do you believe dentistry is important? And if yes, how important is dentistry in the general well-being of Canadians?
I think dentistry is very important. Dentistry, to me, as a professional, as a dentist, it is almost like if somebody wants to lose a tooth. To me, it's almost like losing a finger or any other digit in the body. And sometimes we take all that we have been blessed with, like eyes and lips and hands and teeth. They all have a major role and major part in our betterment. And I want to bring one more perspective to this, that in order to look after yourself and in order to be able to look after your family, every profession or every professional or every service is important and is valued as important, and it's our duty as professionals to uphold that value that people hold in us.
Dr. Bala, statistics prove that Canadians visit the dental healthcare professional more than they visit the physician. Taking a cue from that, does that mean dentistry is as important as is a visit to a physician? If so, how?
I think, in my opinion, people value us as an important part of their healthcare team, and I see myself definitely as their person, somebody who wants to improve the quality of life for them. And they do see us regularly, and most of my patients try to see me twice a year at least. And you know, I see my patients as part of my family, as part of the big group that we look after, and we are part of their lives and they become part of our lives. And it's not just the dental health that then becomes a partnership that we are trying to improve, but in other aspects of life as well. the whole idea is the community. We are part of the same community as our patients and other professionals, and coming together as a community, feeling, I think profession, dentistry, definitely gives me that feeling of community, to be able to belong to my community, and looking after my community is very important for me, definitely.
Dr. Balla, I have one last question. Being the president of Halton Peel Dental Association, which is considered the second largest dental association in Canada.
Largest.
Is this the largest? I come to my final question. Being the active and current president of Halton Peel Dental Association, in that capacity, what is it that your association is doing to educate the general public on the benefits of dentistry, and how successful do you think you are?
In educating the public, and my role as a leader in the Halton Peel Dental Association, which is part of the bigger body, which is the Ontario Dental Association, one of the main goals is access of care, and to improve people's perspective, and to bring an awareness for dental health is definitely on the forefront. We have touched upon a lot of issues and yearly issues like oral cancer screening to be the main forefront, seniors care, which is part of our major mandate for Halton Peel, access to care for seniors in our community. Then bringing about initiatives and auctions and other things which can raise money. And this year, and as has been the last year, the main supporter of that money raised is the Heart House Hospice, which we are proud of. And so in that same capacity, being part of your community, and because Halton Peel Dental Association is part of Halton Peel, and we want to be part of our community, and we are trying our best to be part of our community. And we also raise awareness by our connection with our patients, and that is the best connection, the forefront connection. And by working on the preventative side of things, to get our community, our citizens, and our patients be aware of how to be more preventative in oral health care rather than treatment-based oral health care. That's our main goal and my main issue, definitely.
I am not done. I have to ask you one more question, Dr. Balla.
Sure.
You do a lot of charitable work, which not many people know of. Why do you do it?
I don't call it charity work. I call it my duty and service to my community. I learned from my parents, even if you don't have any money, you should have a little bit of motivation to help others, and I think that's very important as human beings, as citizens of a good, affluent society. Any citizen, good citizen in any society would try to help their society. And me, by making those efforts, I think it's my duty, and I might not be able to help financially, but being able to contribute to my efforts makes me feel that I'm doing my part.
I have to ask you one more question. Doing all these great philanthropic things that and your efforts, does it, the perception of a wealthy dentist, is it because of personal wealth, or does it bring you personal riches? It brings you unparalleled joy to do all these things. Well, how do you maintain a balance?
I feel wealthy because I have a great family, a beautiful wife and kids, a beautiful house, and basic amenities of life, which a lot of people around the world might not be lucky with. I see myself wealthy in that respect. I see wealthy for the friends that I have and for the people that are surrounding me, my staff, my friends, my team of work, and my patients. And the best part of dentistry that I enjoy is to be able to connect with people. And when I came to Canada, I didn't have any friends. I didn't have any family. And I see the people that I came in contact with as almost the family that I left behind. I made a whole big family here. And that's what is my main wealth, I think.
Dr. Bastin, why did you become a dentist?
It's an interesting story. My sister was a medical doctor and her husband was a dentist. And I was originally going to go into medicine. When her husband said you should consider dentistry, it's, you know, the lifestyle's a little nicer, you're not under quite so much pressure. So I looked into it, and I actually found that I was more interested in doing the dentistry than doing medicine. So I changed my focus and ended up going into dental school.
And you turned it into your purpose of life.
Absolutely. That's why I get up in the morning.
I can see that. How would you compare Canadian dentistry to the rest of the world?
Canadian dentistry is right at the top of the tree. You know, along with a few other developed countries, the United States, Switzerland, Germany, Canadian dentistry is right up there. There's no question in my mind that Canadians have access to some of the best dental health care in the world.
I would agree with that. What is one thing that a Canadian dentist can do to better serve the patients?
The best thing for any dentist to do is to spend time educating their patient as to what their options are when it comes to their oral health, why oral health is important to them, and not rush patients into decisions, but let them understand why the dentistry is important, what their choices are, and let them make the decisions. That's the best thing you can do, because an informed patient, or an informed consumer, if you will, is the best consumer. When a patient knows what they need and knows why they need it, they can make a good, solid decision.
Is dentistry in Canada expensive, considering that there are enough statistics to prove? If you visited a Canadian hospital and you visited the dental wing for any emergency procedure, the treatments vary from about 5 to 10 times more as a cost to the OHIP as compared to a private practice such as yourself. So how would you characterize dentistry? Is it expensive? Really, a private clinic, is it expensive or it's affordable?
No, I think in real terms, most dentistry is affordable. Of course, there's very, very sophisticated types of dentistry that can be expensive, but maintaining your health does not cost a lot of money. It's an investment in your overall health as well as your oral health, and you know, if you wait to the last minute and have to have a tooth extracted, it's still cheaper to have it done in a dental clinic than going to a hospital. Whereas you mentioned it's 5 to 10 times, which comes out of everybody's tax revenue. So it's not an expensive way to maintain your health. And as I say, in overall, because of the relation to your body health, it may actually reduce the cost to the health system if your oral health is maintained.
Yeah, considering the Canadians spent nearly $200 billion on regular health care, and that comes out of the federal exchequer, as opposed to in this year alone, Canadians would have spent by the end of this year $13.8 billion on dental health care. So I think it's a fraction of the overall
Exactly.
health care cost.
Yeah, it is. And you know, when you compare it to other non-health related expenses, you realize that it's very much a choice in a lot of cases where someone will say, well, you know, I want to get my hair done, or I want to go on that vacation. Well, that's a choice, and if you make that choice at the expense of another choice, then that's your decision. But that goes back to our education. If you can educate a patient as to why it's important to keep their mouth healthy, then they may make a better choice in terms of seeing the dentist.
Of course, and I don't think you can enjoy your vacation too much with having a toothache at the same time.
No, you don't want to be in the islands and have to, you know, cut your vacation short and come home, or find somebody to treat you in the middle, as you say, of your vacation.
Of course, or for the matter how much your hair may look good, but
Yeah.
it doesn't work. Fair enough. Why does a patient get offered different treatment options for the same procedure from, say, 3 different dentists?
Well, I mean, dentistry is as much as an art as it is a science, and there are quite literally several different treatments that might be acceptable, depending on the patient's overall health, depending on their finances, depending on any number of things. For example, a patient who's missing a tooth could have a fixed bridge, which stays in place. They could have an implant, which replaces the tooth by putting a screw into the bone. They could have a partial denture, or they may elect to do nothing and just live with a missing tooth. All of those are, to some degree, a viable choice for the patient, but they all have different costs, ranging from obviously zero if there's nothing replacing it, up to, you know, probably the more expensive would be the implant. And the other issue is that dentists are differently trained. They have a different focus. Some dentists may feel that, oh, we don't want to put a filling in this tooth until it's very large, or until it breaks, whereas other dentists may say it's better to put a smaller filling in now, it's less expensive than having to treat something more advanced later. And we still live in an area where, in a country where I can decide that I want to spend my profit out of my clinic on continuing education, on equipment. So that has a cost. I may charge more for something because I'm more experienced at it. Someone else may charge more for something else because they're more experienced at that.
So Dr. Bastian, is dentistry a business or a profession, or both?
Well, actually, it's both. It's a business on one hand and a profession on the other. It's a profession where we, you know, serve our patients, help them get healthy, and on the other hand, to be able to do that, it has to be a business that allows us to have the help and the equipment that we need to be able to serve Canadians and provide them with a high level of dental care.
How important is oral health to our overall health?
It's extremely important. The mouth is a gateway to all sorts of areas of overall body health. Because you see a dentist more frequently than your physician, for the most part, they can see things, and you're looking deep into your mouth, they can see things that the average physician really wouldn't, or you wouldn't be able to see yourself. If you have a sore on your arm, you can see it, you know, I've got something going on here, I'm going to go see the doctor. But very few people actually, you know, will look in their mouth and say, oh, there's something going wrong there. So it's really important. One of the scariest things is that oral cancer kills more women every year than cervical cancer, as well as men. If it's caught early, the survival rates are very good. If it's caught late, it's very poor. And we as dentists have an obligation to understand that and to look, and that's just the most serious. We can see diabetes before, you know, you may be aware of it. There's all sorts of other things going on that we can see in the mouth that relate to overall body wellness. So it's extremely closely related.
I agree. So one last question. And I think after that we'll have some casual conversation, but you know, there is a notion in the Canadian mindset that dentistry does not differentiate between ethics and profits. Let me read over the question. Can dentistry be run profitably, yet maintaining the highest standard of ethics?
That's an interesting question, and I'm going to answer it by saying that not only can it, it has to. Profitability ensures ethics. And the reason I say that is, if you're making a profit, you don't have any temptation to compromise. You don't have any temptation to look at a procedure and go, oh, how can I cut a corner here to save a buck? If you're making a profit, you're not going to send your patient's work out to an offshore lab that might charge 10% of what a licensed Canadian lab might do. You're not going to take an example of, you know, when you make a cap, you take an impression. It's very important that that's extremely accurate. If you're not making a profit and it looks okay, maybe you're just going to send it out. But if you're making a profit, you're going to look at that impression and say, no, this isn't any good. I'm just tossing it. There's no going there at all. You know, you can spend that money on education, on your team, and that sort of thing. So I would say, yeah, absolutely, you can have an ethical dental practice and a profitable dental practice, and I would much rather go see a profitable dentist than one that was running on the edge or not making a profit, because I know the profitable one is going to give me exactly the best treatment, the best materials, because he has no reason not to.
Thank you. Do you think the preponderant majority of dentists in Canada follow the model?
The ethical model? Absolutely. Absolutely. There's no question in my mind that it's in the high 90 percentile. You know, everybody says, well, you're always going to have a bad apple no matter what the profession is, and I suppose that's true. But you know what? Dentistry is a lot of hard work. You work very hard to get there. You work very hard to stay there. And you know what? It's 95, 98% of them, and I've met a lot in my travels, are ethical, hard-working people who put the welfare of their patients ahead of anything else.
I think so. Okay, now that was we'll leave it on. Now those were the questions, 10 questions. I want to know, what does it take to become a dentist of your caliber, who is a master of Academy of General Dentistry? Can any dentist be?
Any dentist that wants to commit can do that. You mentioned the master of the academy. That's 15, 16, 1,800 hours of work. So any dentist can do it if you want to be committed to it. It's all about education and doing that sort of thing. So I would say yes, anybody can do it. Will everybody do it? No. No, they won't. Because maybe that's not where their focus is. Maybe they want to do something else with their career. But the more you put into dentistry, the more you get out of dentistry. That's my feeling over almost 30 years of practice now. You know, when you give to it, it gives back.
I'm going to ask you this question again. What kind of commitment does it take to become master of Academy of General Dentistry? I know from statistics it takes hundreds upon hundreds, and in many cases thousands of hours to get such credentials that you have. And do you believe other dentists also do such courses or continue with their education?
Well, absolutely. The commitment to continuing education it's a time commitment away from your family. It's a financial commitment because no one helps you with that. That's out of your pocket. Every dentist in pretty much North America, let alone Ontario and Canada, have a mandatory amount of hours that they have to do, and it's continually checked and monitored. Some people go well above that, but everybody does that required amount, and you know, you have an obligation when you're a professional to be a continual student, because that's what you have to do to provide the level of care that the average dentist in Canada provides. They have to be a continual student so they can continue to upgrade their skills and provide the best patient care.
Now talk to me specifically about yourself. What kind of commitment did it take for you to have the credentials that only a few in North America have? Which is true, I'm not exaggerating.
No, there's 2,000 masters, I think, total.
Yeah, but out of
250,000.
yeah.
Yes. That commitment, it's over many years, obviously. It's approximately 1,600 hours that's required. Now, to do that, you end up having to do much more because it's very specific subject matters and very specific hands-on courses where you actually either work on patients or work on models and that sort of thing. So it's a very, very big commitment, and it's an ongoing one to be able to maintain that level of expertise, if you will, that you just don't stop when you get your 1,600 hours. You continue to spend a lot of hours every year learning new skills and upgrading your old skills.
And I guess to serve one and only one purpose, that is to provide the best care to your patients.
Absolutely. There's no, you know, you don't get to charge more because you spent more time learning. You don't get to charge, you know, you don't get to advertise that, hey, I spent X number of hours learning this, so, you know, I can charge more. The only reason is it's self-improvement to benefit your patients. And that's the way you do it. You know, 99% of dentists will attend courses that are strictly related to benefiting their patients. Period. That's it.
Why did you become a dentist?
Well, I've always, as many young people growing up, we try to find our place where we fit into society. We try to find something that might interest us and where we feel valuable. And dentistry was the place for me. And it was a place for me ever since I was 10 years old, because I lived in a northern community in northern Ontario, and we didn't have a dentist there all the time. But boy, did the people pay attention when the dentist came to town, because they were in dire straits, and the lineups would be there. And in fact, my first contact with the dentist was a wonderful man who came in on the Canadian National Railway line in a coach, and he would come up to our school and he would check us all out in school with a tongue depressor and a flashlight, and then we would all get appointments and we would go to the dental chair during the day. They would take us out of school to do this. And by 5 o'clock it was very dark in Hornepayne. And then the townspeople had their chance to get there. There was no waiting room in the dental coach, so they would line up 15 deep, waiting to have the dentist have a look at them after hours. And so I knew the dentist was a very important member of our community. And I know that it would have been nice if he could have been there a little bit more often, but in those days the dentists weren't available. We are so darn lucky today to have as many fine, well-trained dentists available to us. And we don't have to suffer all the problems and disruption of our lives and pain that the last generation did. And so I wanted to be a member of that team, and I wanted to help that situation out. And I remember that my brothers and we used to deliver newspapers. My brothers more than me, because I was the younger one. And I remember in the Star Weekly seeing a picture of a dentist, and he had a jar of teeth in his hands, and it was full, and he was retiring, and he was very proud of this jar of teeth that he had extracted from people. And at first glance one would think, well, that was terrible, him pulling out all those teeth. But in fact, we can imagine how much pain that he took people out of. And in fact, when the treatments weren't really that good, that he really saved a lot of people, and he probably saved a lot of lives by doing that. But now I have in my drawer a whole big jar full of implants that I have placed. And so I'm hoping that at the end of my career, I'm going to show my jar, and I feel luckier than him, because at least I was able to reconstruct the people that have lost their teeth, and in a very predictable and wonderful fashion with a very high success rate. So I feel lucky, and I think the people of Canada should feel really lucky to have such a wonderful and noble team of dentists to help give them the best life they can have.
Great. How would you, now that we are on that topic, how would you compare Canadian dentistry to the rest of the world?
Well, it's hard to do a big comparison. However, you can almost see in our dental office the types of situation people who emigrate from other countries. So when the Berlin Wall came down, we had a lot of immigrants from Eastern Europe, and they came here in really a terrible state. And every wave of immigrants seemed to come in a terrible state. And so if that represents what their best was, unfortunately it probably was the same as our best 60 or 70 years ago, but we've evolved so much. And we've evolved so much because our education has been so good. We have so many dedicated teachers who have taught us to do the things we need to do. We've had evolution in our field with our technology to just do things better than ever. And it wasn't too long ago that dentists really felt hopeless, along with physicians as well, for people indeed even dreaming about keeping their teeth. Teeth were something young people had, not people who were middle-aged anymore, because they were expensive and they were going to be lost anyway. Nowadays, we can truly feel that we can keep our dentition, our mouth, our communication device intact for the rest of our lives. And that will make us look younger, be healthier, and I think it keeps us whole for a lot longer. So you know, I feel very proud to be a part of this dental team and what we've accomplished in such a short time over the last 50, 60 years.
Would you, and I'm only using this as an analogy, would losing a tooth be akin to losing a finger?
Well, most people would agree that losing a tooth in the front of the mouth would be pretty traumatic to most people. It would be pretty traumatic because it affects the aesthetics. But in fact, losing a tooth anywhere in the mouth is actually traumatic to the whole dentition, because it took millions of years for our dentition as human beings to evolve to the number of teeth and to the size of teeth that we have today. And they all play their part. So while people are a lot more focused on their front teeth, actually the action's in the back. Because those great big molars, they keep the front teeth from breaking off and from wearing prematurely and all that. So yes, keeping the dentition intact as long as possible is really the goal. And if you do that and you keep the mechanics of the bite correct and healthy, then I think it's easy to keep your teeth all your life.
There's a notion in the Canadian mindset that somehow dentistry in a private clinic is expensive. Somehow dentistry is more expensive if we were to do a comparative study compared to dentistry offered within our publicly served hospitals, or even compared to other healthcare services. I just thought perhaps you can shed some light on it.
Well, I have done some emergency services in our local hospital for a number of years in the past, and I can tell you that unfortunately that system is not only extremely expensive, but it really wasn't that efficient, and it wasn't really geared for dentistry. Our facilities in private practice are absolutely specific for dentistry. We are very efficient, and I would guess, wow, that we got to be 5 to 10 times more efficient cost-wise than the hospital services would be for similar services. Now, the big difference is that it's hidden. The cost is hidden. It comes out of our taxes. It takes from our other programs. So we don't feel it directly from our wallets right away. In dentistry, because it's private practice, we feel a little bit more. Fortunately, a lot of us have dental insurance, and so it sort of takes, it eases that cost a little bit. But the work that I do primarily with dental implants has never been covered by dental insurance. And so really, it becomes a matter of value. People have to really value themselves and want to stay intact, and there is a cost to that. But I would say that cost would be much higher if it was performed, if these services were performed in a different venue other than in our own private clinics. We are not only we not only do the administrative for our own practices. We don't hire administrators, we do it. We actually do the work. So we are actually workers in our own practice. And the whole concept of profit in a dental office is sort of interesting. Because, for example, in a big industry, they talk about profit after everybody else gets paid. The profit might be 2 or 3%. But in the dental office, we do everything. We are the administrators. We hire people. We train staff. We do our continuing education. We buy technology. We have to stay current. And so if one adds up all these costs, I can tell you, it really is our salaries because we do our own work. And so, you know, and our salaries are, I think, are very fair for the amount of work that we do. So it's not really profit, it's our salaries what's left over when we work in a dental clinic.
We want to keep it like that.
Yeah.
Is dentistry, Dr. Spoda, is dentistry a business or a profession?
Dentistry is definitely a profession on one hand, and certainly to become a professional, I spent 12 years at university to learn my craft and countless hours thereafter to improve the areas I was been interested in. However, I'm also burdened with a lot of responsibility. I'm responsibility to hire and train the best staff so they can serve our patients better, because all the service to our patient doesn't just happen in a dental chair. It happens at the front desk, it happens in the hygiene department, it happens in the radiology department, it happens in the dental laboratory department, and all these departments require money in order to make them work. And if I want to offer cutting edge or new normal high standard dentistry to my patients, I really have to keep up with all of these things. And so everybody who really comes to the dental office really have to pay their share for that. And that's the way I kind of see how it's fair. And so I feel that my fees are very fair, and I feel I am very efficient and able to deliver those services at the cost that I can do that. And when one compares that, for example, to the cost of delivering services in a hospital environment, my God, we're at least 5 to 10 times less expensive or more cost effective. So we should be congratulated for that. But unfortunately, the hospital system is financed by the hidden partner, who's the government. They pay for it, but we pay for it through our taxes. But isn't it much better for us to not be such a big burden to our taxes? And maybe if we could be more efficient there, perhaps we could offer other beautiful community services to our citizens. So dentistry is on the forefront of that. We are efficient, and we have the highest standard of care in the world here now. And our citizens should be very proud of that, and certainly I am.
Okay.
The question always is why does the cost of dentistry vary from dentist to dentist? Well, it has a lot to do with the interaction between what the dentist is trying to accomplish for the patient and what the patient wants. And certainly, it's always cheaper to do nothing rather than something. And the fact is that in the old days, we only thought about doing dentistry for the next 6 months. Well, you know, over 6 months, usually not that much happens. So the dentist who takes the long perspective for 20 years and tries to optimize the conditions of the mouth by doing the fillings that are a little smaller, the one who tries to get the mechanics of the mouth right by replacing teeth that are missing, uprighting teeth. Well, these things are a little bit more, expensive type of treatments to do, because it's really rehabilitative dentistry. Certainly, it would have been cheaper if the patient would have done the preventative dentistry to prevent all these things from happening. So there you have it. Patients sometimes only want treatment for the next 6 months. That's cheap. Some patients want to, not in addition to rehabilitating their mouths, they want to have their teeth all their life. Well, the whole treatment plan is quite different. And it's usually a little bit more comprehensive, and therefore it's more expensive. But if you treat your mouth like you treat your car, well, you can junk your car if you make wrong decisions after 5 or 6 years. But you're stuck with yourself. And now in Canada, there's over 6,000 people over 100 years old. So how will your decisions today, when you're 25 and 30, going to affect how you're going to look when you're 80 and when you're 90 and maybe, if you're lucky enough, 100? So we have to take the long view of things. So comprehensive treatment is always more expensive than cut and paste, put your finger in the dike type dentistry.
So a cheap decision of today can be expensive one of the future. What do you would you agree with that analogy?
I think that's a good analogy. However, prevention, if one really takes that little bit of money and puts it into prevention in an appropriate amount early for our children and even for ourselves, it'll have huge payoffs over the next 60, 70 years.
Of course.
But if we're already behind the 8 ball, sometimes, you know, we have to treat ourselves well, and sometimes it costs a little bit of money to rehabilitate yourself, to bring yourself back into a healthy state.
Sense from you that you would like to see your patients better educated at the kind of commitment it takes to become a dentist. having said that, that's perhaps not the foundation of my question, or maybe it is. But do you think there is one thing Canadian dentists can do better to educate their patients? If so, what would be that?
No, I think they're doing a lot of things right now, because quite frankly, as people get less and less cavities and people getting better health, they have less and less work. And they've done such an outstanding job in Canada and, you know, throughout the world in educating foreign dentists who actually go back to their homeland and become better dentists, that they're doing an outstanding job. I think they should just stay on track of what they're doing now. Certainly we can always put more effort in that area, but in every dental office today, the dentists and their whole team are continuously educating their patients to have a healthier oral health. The hygienists are always telling them how to do better, to maintain their mouth better. The dentists are always giving the patients many treatment options and trying to restore their teeth in better ways with better materials. So I think they should just hold the course. They're doing so darn good. In fact, many of the other professions are copying dentistry's model with doing preventative care. I mean, why do you think today that we're getting cholesterol-lowering drugs, blood pressure-lowering drugs, all these things? This is all dentistry and its preventive direction.
One singular thing, if you were to say it in 10 words, that a patient can do better, what would that be?
I think the patients could be a little bit better at taking responsibility for their own home care and also for their treatment decisions. I think passing the buck of responsibility to the dental profession for their own condition, situation, lifestyle is not fair. I think they should own up to taking responsibility for their own life choices. For example, there's a lot of people who still smoke cigarettes. We know it's a habit. We know it's sometimes tough for people to break this habit. But it destroys their teeth. It destroys their periodontium. They lose their teeth because the bone around their teeth melts away. They have to own up to responsibility. So if they want to choose to smoke, they should also be choosing the risks, and they shouldn't be mad at the dental profession because we can't help them so much because their body system is getting sicker. But it's not just smoking. It's also to do with their home care and other things. So they should listen to their dentist a little bit more, try to up their own personal health by improving their diets, by living a better lifestyle, and by maintaining their teeth. It's really not brain surgery to brush your teeth and work with a little bit of floss and do that part. If you do that, you'll have your teeth all your life. And if you don't do that, well, own up to your responsibility. Be thankful that you're not in the same group as our parents were a couple of generations ago. Be thankful that you have such a great dental team that's really out there to help you, and they try their best to help you the best they can. Support them.
You don't have to.
You can ask the question again.
Okay. Dr. Subodha, can dentistry be ethical and profitable at the same time?
Dentistry has to be profitable to be ethical. Because to be ethical, one wants to offer the highest quality of care that's possible to the patients. And if it's underfunded, one just can't do that. So one has to really keep one eye on the financial support to the dental practice. We don't get any support from anybody else except from the patients. And so we depend on that. If our patients do not agree with our ideas of treatment, they'll vote with their feet and they'll walk away. So if they agree, then they'll support the dental office. My dental office is quite successful. I do believe my patients vote with their feet and they have agreed with my idea of an ethical dental practice. So I hope I'm complying with that, and I'm trying very hard to be the best I can, and I need the money to do it.
Okay, my name is Dr. Saul Wise. I graduated in 1982 from University of Manitoba. I worked in Manitoba for 5 years, and I moved my practice to downtown Toronto.
So Saul, you graduated in 1982 in Manitoba. If you think back to 1982 in Manitoba, I would imagine that a lot of the people that you were first seeing either as a student or first out of school probably didn't understand or know much about comprehensive dental care. There was basic dentistry in 1982.
Well, it's funny you asked that. I actually had an office right on the university campus. So 80% of my patients were students. And they have a very, in 1982, they had a very sort of general fund of knowledge in terms of dentistry. You know, cleanings, cavities, and maybe if they need their teeth straightened. That's pretty much what I was dealing with. I had the population base of the university, the professors, that also came to see me. And that I would say that they were a more educated population base, but still the practice that I had there was basic dentistry, where we were doing fillings and cleanings on a regular basis.
So back in 1982, the IQ of the average patient that you were seeing would be considered low, say compared today, 30 years later in 2012.
The dental IQ from 1982, and I've seen how people have learned so much about dentistry with the advent of the internet. Remember, when I was around in 82, there was no internet. There was no surfing the internet to find out about dentistry and all the different procedures. So yes, the dental IQ of patients is much higher today in 2012 than it was in 1982, 30 years ago.
Saul, I think we could give the Canadian credit for elevating their knowledge and understanding of dentistry because of our ability today to do so much more research, as you say, due to the advent of the internet. But I think it's also very fair to say that the Canadian dentists and their supporting staff have been attempting to elevate patient IQ since the beginning of dentistry.
Absolutely. I mean, the amount of time and energy that dentists and their staff put into continuing education to better themselves in terms of what they know, what they can find out, and how they can help patients, it's far beyond what we ever did in 30 years ago. So yes, I mean, we spend a huge amount of money and a huge amount of time educating not only the dentists, but the staff.
So what about the time you spend with a patient? Think of the time in day-to-day dental practice that you're spending time educating patients, teaching them the basics, how to brush, how to floss, how to understand the basics of looking after themselves. And I think it's fair to say that a lot of that time spent by dentists is unchargeable, unpaid time educating their patients.
Well, you know, as you learn during the education process that you have to do a couple things at a time. So as the hygienists are working with the patients, the assistants, they're educating the patients. We have videos, we have instruction manuals, we spend a little bit of time in teaching people how to floss, like physically how to floss, how to brush their teeth. All these things are unchargeable. We don't charge patients for that, but we want to instruct them because ultimately we care about their care. And the better they take care of their teeth, the healthier their teeth will be. So what we do in the office all the time, besides doing the work, we're educating all the time. Even you know, with the advertising and everything that is on, whether it be the internet or advertisements on TV or advertising, we're educating. All the things that we're doing is we're educating the population about dentistry.
So many Canadian dentists are meeting people that have emigrated here from all over the world. They've come from various cultures, various levels of income, remote parts of the world to some of the more advanced cities. When these people come to Canada and begin to meet Canadian dentists, I would suspect you're seeing quality of dentistry, or more importantly, the IQ of the patients in a wide range. How would you compare Canadian dental care to dental care in other parts of the world?
I don't think you can't compare it. The kind of patients, the kind of dental work that we see is actually, you've never seen this type of dental work before. And it would never pass any kind of the standards that we would consider acceptable in modern day dentistry, even in 1982. But even now, in 2012, It's very difficult because it's the IQ of the patient coming from, from elsewhere. It's not as high as the people that we have here in Canada, the people that were born in Canada, but they are open. They have had dental care in their own countries, albeit we wouldn't consider it to be great dentistry, but they had dentistry. So they're willing to do it. They just need to be explained, and sometimes there's a lot of work that we have to change. Like there's a lot of work that goes that gets bad over time or that fails, and we need to take care of that. But we need to teach them. We need to instruct them. We don't have to denigrate the other dentists and what they got back in their country, but we need to show them what the current concepts are, what's currently available, and how to take care of everything.
Dr. Weiss, do you think it's safe to say that the typical patient is interested in more comprehensive dental care and looking to improve their smile?
I would say that most patients are interested in taking care of the health of their teeth and their gums because they understand the relationship between general health and dental health. In terms of, because the population is aging, I think that, and with our aging population, they're very interested in taking care of themselves, feeling good about themselves, and being as healthy as they can be so they can live as long as they can be. I mean, look at the average age of patients and how long they live nowadays. It's far beyond what it was in 1982. So people want to actually have a very good quality of life. So those kind of patients are coming in and asking how we can take care, Dr. Weiss, how can we take care of our teeth? How can we keep our teeth for a lifetime? We don't want to have dentures. We don't want to have to take out our teeth at nighttime. We want to have perfectly good teeth and good teeth. We want to be able to taste our food. We want to be able to chew. We want to be able to smile for the rest of our lives.
Dr. Weiss, oral health is connected to the rest of the body. And dentistry has come a long way in understanding how it's all interconnected with diabetes and our heart system. How would you comment about oral health and how it relates to the rest of the body?
I think the mouth is sort of a window to the rest of your body. And the healthier we can actually see things going on in the mouth, issues that you might have physically, systemically. And you can see sort of how exposures in the mouth and how those are connected. So dentists can be the first line of defense. We are actually seeing people more on a regular basis than doctors, than any other of the health professionals. So by being able to come regularly to your dentist, we're not only cleaning your teeth and checking for cavities, but we're looking for your overall general health. Mm-hmm. And if we see something that's an issue, we bring it up. We're trained like that. We have a medical background. There's a reason for our medical background. It's not just because they think that we need to know these kind of things and we're never going to use them. It's important that a dentist, not only are we clinically capable to do fillings and to do cleanings and to do crowns and veneers and all that stuff, but we're also able to understand what's going on in your mouth and how it correlates to your body. It's very important to you or to the general public that we're looking after them.
When a patient visits one dentist and perhaps another, they may get a different opinion as to what their treatment options are. It's common that patients may seek a second opinion, and sometimes 2 or 3 on certain procedures. Why is it that a patient would get different opinions from different dentists, say if they were to travel across Canada?
It's a very good question. And number one, any kind of any patient that comes to me, if they have a comprehensive case, I always tell them to go get a second opinion, so just so they understand what is involved. But I would say that we have many dentists. I think there's 8,000 dentists in Canada, and all of them are trained in different places. We're seeing patients from different walks of life. We're seeing all kinds of different issues, and I think that I believe that all dentists are genuinely want to take care of the patient. We are health professionals and we want to take care of you. I'm sure there are dentists, there are some dentists out there that are interested in making a lot of money and everything. Dentistry has offered me a wonderful life, but I'm very passionate about what I do. I care about the patient, and I want that patient to be taken care of as best as they can. Now, there's people that go around looking for all kinds of different treatments. There's people who want, I mean, the cosmetic industry wasn't started by the dentist. It was started by the demand for it. We are just filling the demand. We're helping people get to where they want to go. You know, people have been aging for years, but now in this generation, they want to take care of themselves. So if we don't educate ourselves for that, how can we deliver a proper service? So when you go to different people and you can get different quotes and different suggestions based on experience, suggestions based on clinical experience, and how many years they've actually practiced. I've been practicing for 30 years. So when I tell somebody that a tooth is going to fail over their lifetime, I know that because I've been there. I've seen teeth fail because of a certain circumstance like that. But we've also seen over time how gum disease has ravaged people's mouths and they've lost all their teeth. So again, it's the comprehensive care where we're looking at the whole person, and we also are trying to predict something that is a little bit unpredictable. But experience gives us a little bit of a window into what may happen.
Dr. Wise, if a patient were to end up in a dental hospital, in the emergency ward for dental procedures, how would the cost of that treatment compare to traditional dental treatment in a standard dental office?
You know, it doesn't make sense for a patient to go to the hospital when they have a toothache. Actually, it doesn't make financial sense.
Why?
It costs us, the public, for a patient to go to emergency to have to deal with a toothache 5 to 10 times more than it would cost if that patient went to the dentist. They deal with the dentist themselves, but if they went to the hospital, we're paying for it through OHIP. It doesn't make any sense at all. Okay, sure.
Largest questions.
Okay.
We want to just have, you've got some very succinct answers to some big questions.
Okay.
And this is where your passion has to come.
Yeah.
And this is where you guys just give it.
Okay.
Let's try this one first. Are we good, boys?
Yep.
Dr. Weiss, what can the Canadian dental profession do better to serve the patient? It's a tough one.
Yeah.
Go.
I think we are on our way to serve the patient, the Canadian patient, better. I think through educating ourselves, through providing options for our patients, providing them great dental care, to be interested in the health, the overall health of our patients, to take care of them, to instruct them, to teach ourselves, to teach our staff, to make it, we are forming relationships with patients on a daily basis. I love what I do. I've spent 30 years doing it, and today I love it just as much and even more than I did when I first started. I have a relationship with my patients. I care about them. I care that they are healthy. I care that they take care of themselves. I care that they know about everything that I know about. That if something new comes up, I want to share that with them. If something isn't good, I want them to know that too. So I think the model is on its way. Are we there yet? I don't think so, but we are definitely on its way. We are definitely on the way to making sure that the Canadian public has the best care that they can possibly have. I am committed to that, and I know a lot of other dentists are committed to that. We care about you, the patient. Part of my process, my interviewing process with the patient, is I want to understand what they expect from me, what their needs are, what their wants are. And that helps me to evaluate the IQ of the patient. So if I take a Canadian patient here, their needs and their wants and their requirements and what they want from me is much higher than say somebody who just immigrated here for 5 years ago even. Because the person who's immigrated wants me to take care and make sure that they can keep their teeth. And they're really concerned about managing what they have and making sure that it lasts as long as it can. My patients from Canada, their IQ is so high that they're coming in with requests. They talk about materials, they talk about, just in the past couple of years, the public perception with acrylics and how we've had to change the kind of acrylics that we use because the patients, the dental IQ here is so high that there is a correlation. So as dentists that we care about our patients, we've gotten rid of all those acrylics that had there was some correlation to any kind of like medical issues. So I think what I can tell you is the IQ here is high. The IQ from our new patients, the people who have immigrated here, is definitely not anywhere near that. But I think as the immigrant becomes part of the population base here, that their IQ will develop the same way our Canadian patients has.
Undoubtedly, it will elevate.
It will elevate.
I think that's a large part of the raising IQ of all Canadians, regardless of where they were born and raised. I think should be credited to the patient for their ability to research, and also to the profession for consistently striving to increase our awareness of our oral health.
Yeah, well, I mean, I talked about how we educate ourselves as dentists, as hygienists and assistants. We do a ton of continuing education, and the continuing education is not on basic things that we learned 20 years ago or 10 years ago. It's on current concepts, on new advances, and how we can better treat our patients, how we can understand them better to really understand what they want and what they need. So we're on a regular basis. Actually, this year I've instituted within my own practice that everybody, it's mandatory taking 2 continuing education courses a year. And I'm sure other dentists, you can see in Ontario alone, the number of continuing education courses for dentists and their staff is huge. Mm-hmm. And they're well attended.
Dr. Weiss, we talk about education of the profession and also education of the public to understand more about oral health.
Yeah.
And we do know that the profession itself is investing in educating the public, and we see this on television and print media. But we also know that the dentists and their staff are taking a lot of continuing education to improve their ability to educate their patient. Who pays for continuing education for the dentist and their staff?
We pay for it. The dentist, actually, as a dentist, I pay for my staff to take continuing education courses, and they also pay for their own courses. We, on a regular basis, have to upgrade and take courses to maintain our license as a practitioner. The hygienists have to take courses to maintain their license, and the assistants always have to upgrade to make sure that they're doing what they need to do to maintain their license. We are responsible for it.
Why do you do this? What's in it for you to be a dentist? Is it just the money, man?
You know, if you ask me if I sit up at night thinking about why I do what I do, I tell you no, because I love what I do. Wow. I don't think about. I love what I do because it fulfills many areas of my life. And I'll explain that. I'm able to help people. I'm able to truly help people that need my help. I'm able to develop relationships with people. So I not only do dentistry, but I also meet wonderful people. I'm able to hire people and employ people and have a relationship with my staff and watch everybody grow. You know, I have 2 people who have been with me for 20 years. And you know, that to me is incredible. They've grown up with me, I've grown up with them. We've learned a lot of things together. But the real central part here is that I have been given talents. I have been given certain talents that might be different than other people, but I know that I have them. And I have a responsibility to people to share those and to use them so that people can benefit from that. And so I'm one of those lucky ones that knew what they wanted to be when they were in grade school. In grade 11, I knew I wanted to be a dentist. Always wanted. I went to university, I never went into anything else. I wanted to be a dentist. As I went through university, I enjoyed the experience. I wanted to be an oral surgeon. I didn't wind up becoming an oral surgeon because I didn't like the smell of hospitals, but there is something driving. There's a driving force within me, and the driving force is to be there for the people, Share what you have. It's special, and you are obligated to share that. And I feel special that I can do that. I can meet people, take care of them, make a person, an elderly person smile, give somebody teeth that don't have any teeth. Take a young girl who has crooked teeth and make them straight. Take somebody who's in pain and get them out of pain. And generally speaking, all the different things that I can do, I mean, it is incredible, all the things that I'm able to do for people. And I feel very fortunate to be able to do that.
Put your feet straight like this again.
Sure.
Not like this, because then you'll resist the temptation to swim.
Yeah.
Saul, tell me about some of those experiences where a patient has exited your practice after being rehabilitated, and what that patient has said to you, and what has transpired when that rehabilitation is complete. Tell me of these moments.
I have people that actually, they look at themselves and they start crying. And the crying is from the tears of happiness. I've taken somebody who had absolutely no teeth and gave them teeth. You know, I tell people that the eyes are the windows of your soul. Your smile is your personality. So for me to be able to help somebody to give back their personality, it's incredible. They're smiling. They're joyful. It's like a new lease on life. It is daily, you know, all the different experiences. Even I had a young girl whose teeth were they were formed improperly. At 14 years old, could you imagine a girl going to school and being joked about, and you know, she hiding her smile, not smiling at all because she didn't want anybody to see what she looks like. But at 14, we were able to bring her in and put some cosmetic bonding on her teeth and reshape them and make her teeth. I mean, it is incredible the feeling that she had when she looked at her teeth and she could smile. She could actually go out with her peers. I had a boy who never developed some permanent teeth. He had no permanent teeth. We had to put implants in and crowns and gave him teeth. And he had to wait until he was older to do that. I mean, all these are stories. I had an older lady whose teeth were worn down. I think the ravages of World War II. She came to me, she said, you know what, I don't have many years left, but I want to be able to smile. I've always smiled. I want people to see that I'm friendly. You know, when you're, you know, everybody thinks that I look, you know, unhappy or mad all the time. So to be able to give her some teeth that actually made her look, that she could smile and made her look friendly, I mean, every single one of these is so important to me. I mean, that's why I can go home at night and I feel so grateful for the ability for me to do this for people. I mean, it's an honor. I feel being a dentist, it's an honor for me to do that for all the people that I can see.
Dr. Weiss, there's a debate about whether dentistry is a business or a profession. Is dentistry a business, or is dentistry a profession, or is it both? Is dentistry a business, a profession, or both?
Yeah, it's a dentist. Okay. To me, dentistry is a profession. It's an occupation with formal training. We invest in technology, we invest in well-trained staff, we invest in materials to provide our patients the best care possible.
That was it. Like
Was that good?
Were you reading your email? Did you have to watch that? Oh,
did you like that or no?
You nailed it.
Yeah.
You nailed it. That's the 8-second bite that says it all.
It was very quick. I'll do another one for you.
Okay, sure, yeah.
Okay.
We Googled what profession is.
Well, you know, it makes, if I know what it is.
Business, profession, or both?
Look, a profession is defined as an occupation with formal training. Dentistry is just that. We invest in technology, we invest in high-level staff, we invest in everything to make sure that our patients get the best care possible.
Okay.
How's that?
Fantastic. very passionate about dentistry. Dr. Haddad, I would like to ask you, why are you so passionate about dentistry? Why do you come to work, and what drives that?
Well, dentistry to me is something I really, really enjoy doing. I've always wanted to be a dentist ever since I was 13. The way I see it, it's providing medical services, because it's partly a medical service. There's a lot of artistic work in it, and it's very creative and working with hands. And this is something I really enjoy doing. If I come to work and I really enjoy my work, it just makes me want to go, every day to work.
I also have found out that you do a lot of compassion-driven dentistry around the world. I'm very curious to know, is it just a few dentists that do such things? First of all, you do tell me in detail what you do and how you do it, but I also want to know, is it just a few dentists that do it, or it is a predominant part of dental professionals to contribute back in the society, this world?
Yes, there comes a time I think in your life when you're building your practice, and you're trying to build a life for yourself, and there comes a time when you actually want to give back. We go to Guatemala, we go there for a week, and we go with a few other dentists. There's one actually coming from the United States as well, so it's a big group of us that go there, and we treat children. And these children haven't seen dentists for a long time, if ever. We're actually, all of us are doing it for the same reason, which is really to give. And it's such empowering, to actually be with all these people that are just doing the work, just so they can actually give to people. You see, dentistry is really enjoyable, as I said, and if you take the business side of it, it becomes in its purest form, and it's really easy to do and enjoyable, and it's very satisfying.
Is that why you come to work every day?
That is why I come to work every day. I mean, obviously we have to think of the business side of it, and that part of it is the additional side to it. But really, what drives me is really the enjoyment of doing the work. Sometimes I work long hours, and people tell me, don't you get tired? But if you're doing something you really enjoy, you don't really feel tired, because you just enjoy it. I mean, you're doing it, you would do it any time.
And it must also make you feel very proud of the fact that you have been able to create such a beautiful facility that not only speaks volumes of how you think about the importance you give to patient experience, but also the fact that this facility, you have tens of employees, and that tells me, that you are an entrepreneur. So, how does that fit into all this that you do?
Well, it's the part of it's where you want to actually do dentistry at its best level of dentistry, and we are really blessed in here that we can do this. I'm blessed that I have the opportunity to actually build a fairly big practice. So that drives me, because there's a lot of people that actually work with me to do that, and they share the same passion. There's a part of it that's also the teaching aspect of it is very satisfying, because you're also working as a mentor for a lot of new people and new graduates. I have a few employees that actually want to be dentists, and they come and do some work for me here, and they're encouraged to do dentistry. They're inspired, and I like that. I like to see the result of that. We've had a lot of people who have come in and volunteered and watched, and now they're dentists. Some of them are specialists, So it's that aspect of it that also, drives me and helps me, take on big projects.
Dr. Haddad, last question. If there was one thing a Canadian dentist could do better to better serve the patient, what would that be?
That's a difficult question, actually.
You take your time, and whatever answer, because for example, when I ask this question, most of the times the response I get is, take the time to understand. A Canadian dentist can sit down and take the time to understand the patient better, so they can qualify the patient's specific needs better.
Right.
So if you think that,
yes, absolutely. Actually, that's yeah. Yes, well, I think the best thing dentists can do is actually connect to their patients, form a relationship with their patients, and this is what I try and base my work on. If we there'll be more trust between patient and dentist, there will be more better quality of work if only the relationship actually gets better, and that needs time to do that kind of thing.
My name is Dr. Brian Kaplansky. I've been a practicing dentist for many years, and a question that comes up every now and again is, how is it possible that you can go to 3 different dentists and end up with 3 different opinions? Well, I'd like to answer that question by using an analogy where you take your car in for an oil change, only to be told that you need to have your brake pads changed as well. Now, you're pretty surprised about this, and you decide to go down the road and go to the mechanic and get another opinion, only to be told by him that your brake pads are just fine. So you've had 2 different opinions right there. You go to a third mechanic who, lucky for you, sits down with you and takes the time to explain exactly how the braking pads in your car work. And he quickly explains how you start with a brake pad that's about 12 millimeters thick. And when you wear it down and when it gets to 4 millimeters, that's the magic number. It needs to be replaced. But what happens if you're at that gray zone of around 5 millimeters thick? Well, then a discussion needs to take place. It's the responsibility of the mechanic to ask the questions that need to be asked. It's your responsibility to respond, and together, with open dialogue, good communication, getting your specific details, the right treatment will be decided upon. So in my case, 5 millimeters, I'm driving in the city, I'm stopping and starting every second block. I'm an aggressive driver, I put that foot on the gas pedal and on the brake. 5 millimeters, I need to change those brake pads. It's a good decision to change the brake pads at that point, even though I didn't reach that magical number of 4. That might not be the same case with another person, given the style of driving that they have, the kind of conditions that they drive in. So every case matters, and every case is different. Similarly, in a dentist's office, there is no magic cutoff number or a critical number that we just follow. We have to ask the right questions. You have to give us the information that together we can come up with the right treatment plan for you.
I'm here with Dr. Kaplansky. Dr. Kaplansky, why did you become a dentist?
I became a dentist because I realized early on that life is short and precious, and I wanted to have the opportunity to make a difference. Make my life actually count in this world. And I thought the best way to do that was to be able to impact on many people's lives in a positive, helpful, productive way. And at the same time, maintain my excitement, my enthusiasm, and constantly be stimulated by that particular profession. I happen to like using my hands. I also happen to like getting immediate gratification. And by that I mean, there's a problem, I know how to fix it, I fix it, it's done. That's very rewarding for me. So dentistry offers all that and more. I'm able to help people, get them out of pain, make them smile again, make them be proud of themselves and not having to cover up their mouths as so many people do because they're embarrassed of their smile. I like how dentistry is also a business. And there's a lot of challenge, excitement, stress as well, but nonetheless positive stress in the business of dentistry. I like building a little community around me, my staff. My staff are exceptionally important to my office, to my happiness and well-being, and there's a lot of dynamic going on. So there's a business aspect, there's a social aspect, there's the rewards of positive feedback. I'm meticulous, I like to do good work, my patients appreciate that, and I get that positive feedback. That's what keeps me going. That's why I wake up early every morning and I'm happy to go to work, because yes, I give a lot, but I get even more in return every day. So for me, dentistry couldn't be it's the best profession. Am I on a little too long?
Oh,
well, you'll pick and choose.
You did. Are we rolling?
I'm rolling, just give me a sec. Okay. I'm still rolling, yeah.
What is the number one thing that a dentist can do to better engage a patient?
Listen, I think what dentists need to do is to listen. If we stop and let the patient speak, it's amazing what you learn. Patients often don't feel comfortable, nor are they given the opportunity to actually speak. Explain it is to the dentist exactly what it is that they're looking for. I think we may be a little guilty of speaking a lot. We have a lot to say, a lot to teach, and I do it all the time. But to engage the patient, to make the patient feel comfortable, is to create that open dialogue, to create that communication. And so I like to sit back, similar to the way I'm sitting back right now, and say absolutely nothing. And let the patient talk. Then we're on equal footings.
How important is oral health to the overall health of a human being?
We've known for a long time that there exists a relationship between the bacteria in our mouths, the plaque that builds up in our teeth, and the plaque that builds up in our arteries in cases where you end up with cardiovascular disease. It's never been proven up until very recently. We've known about it, we have explained it to our patients, but now we actually have the scientific studies to back it up. And so as a result, in the very recent period of time, dentists focus on the importance of ensuring that there is virtually no or very little bacteria left under the gum tissue. Why? Because if bacteria is allowed to stay there, it will penetrate the gums, travel through the bloodstream, and settle in the organs. The degenerative diseases of the 21st century, be it cancer, cardiovascular disease, Alzheimer's, there's a definite correlation. And if the solution can be as simple as maintaining a really good oral hygiene to at least minimize the amount of bacteria that's traveling through our bloodstream, thereby minimizing the amount of inflammation that goes through our system and causes our body to react, we can make great strides in minimizing these diseases, decreasing the frequency. So I can't say enough about the importance of oral hygiene. And we have enough technology now to illustrate these very facts, and certainly there's enough in the way of...
Is dentistry a profession or a business?
Dentistry is both a profession and a business. Clearly it's a profession. We have spent thousands upon thousands of hours in education just to get to the point of dental school. And we're in dental school for 4 years, learning techniques, learning the profession to better serve the population. After graduation, we continue with continuing education, hundreds upon hundreds of hours every year, all for the purpose of better serving our patients, providing our patients with what they need, what they want, what they deserve, which is cutting-edge dentistry, offering them the technology that's available, and delivering it in a professional manner. It's a business, of course. How can we possibly deliver state-of-the-art dentistry? How can we possibly fill up these 4 walls with the very best that technology has to offer in techniques that require specific machinery, expensive machinery, imaging, 2-dimensional, 3-dimensional imaging? The list goes on and on. Who's going to run all this machinery, if not the staff that we hire? And we're going to hire the best staff that we could possibly find. Why? To best deliver to you the services that you want and the services that you need and deserve. Our staff take care of you from the moment you phone to the moment you leave, and are always on top of whatever needs exist. Staff needs to be paid. Equipment needs to be paid for. We need to balance our budget. Of course, dentistry is a business. We're not in the business of making money. We're in the business of providing services, taking care of ourselves so we can feed our families, taking care of our staff so they can feed their families, and delivering quality care to our patients.
I'm here with Dr. Sean Monga, who practices dentistry in Greater Toronto area, and I would like to ask him a few questions. Dr. Monga, why did you become a dentist?
Well, I always liked the science aspect, in high school, and going through my education, I took a little bit of a proactive approach. I volunteered in the hospital, volunteered in the dental office, and something about the environment and the people working in the dental office drew me in. So I pursued further education in the science field. At the same time, still volunteering under the mentorship of a local dentist, and that led me to apply to dental school. Fortunately, got in, and from there it's it's a field that even after school, that once you get out of school, the learning never stops. And the reason I enjoy it the most is because I look forward to expanding the treatments I can offer, learning the newest technology, learning what's innovative in the field. And it just draws you in, because if you can deliver better care to your patients, then it makes you happy. We're doing this 10, 12 hours a day sometimes. You gotta enjoy what you do. So I was fortunate enough to find myself in a profession I really enjoy.
So Dr. Munga, how would you compare Canadian dentistry to what is being offered in the rest of the world?
Well, I'm fortunate enough to work in an area where I see patients of many ethnicities. A lot of the times they come for the first time to a dental office in Canada, and they sort of talk about their experiences back home. And in examining their mouths, the quality of work offered in Canada far by supersedes the kind of work they've received back home. And a lot of the times we're having to redo a lot of the work that's been done back home because it just doesn't measure up to the quality of care for an average dentist in Canada, let alone a good one. So I think the latest technologies, the latest innovations, we're fortunate enough to get first crack at a lot of them and offering them to our patients. And the value of dentistry in Canada, I think, makes that possible. People care about their mouths here. People care about getting a checkup at the age of 3 or 4 for their kids. Whereas the values, I think, aren't present in other countries. So if you don't value something, you won't invest in it, you won't take care of it. So I think overall, just a general framework of society here is that we put emphasis on our mouths at a very early age, and we continue to take that as we grow
to better serve the patients.
The best thing a Canadian dentist can do is to educate the patients. A patient comes in, they usually come just to get a general checkup, or they come to address a certain issue. When we look in their mouths, we may find something different. You might recommend a certain treatment that they weren't ready for. But in order to bridge the gap, I try to get what the dentist wants to do or needs to do, and what the patient wants to get done or needs to get done on the same level. I find it's much easier to treat a patient who values the treatment that's being offered to them, and that can only happen through education. I would say, given the cost of running a business and given the cost of administering treatment, it's fair. I wouldn't say it's very expensive, I wouldn't say it's very cheap, but I think it's fair. And the cost of dental treatment can become expensive if there's a patient who's neglected their mouths over the years. Because when they finally come to address a certain issue, usually there are a lot of problems that need to be dealt with. The patient that's maintained their mouth throughout the years will probably find that dentistry is not expensive. Getting 2 or 3 cleanings a year is similar to getting an oil change done on your car. And if that's all you need, dentistry can be very affordable, but the value has to be started from the patient level. We're here to diagnose, we're here to treat. We're going to treat the problems at hand. The patient or the public. I think if you want to ask, again, why dental treatment varies from...
Dr. Munga, why does a patient get offered different treatment opinions from different dentists for the same?
Well, dentistry in itself is a little bit of an art form. It's very easy to offer a treatment on a tooth, and that will generally be a consensus everywhere. But the approach on how to manage a patient differs from dentist to dentist. The approach on analyzing and factoring the patient's health, the patient's budget, their specific dental problems, And how you're going to carry that, not only today, because the work I do today has to be maintained tomorrow and the day after that and the day after that. So dentistry doesn't involve doing treatment on a single visit. It involves developing an approach for a specific patient, tailoring to all the problems they have, and factoring in their health, their budget, and their wants. You know, a lot of the times, dentists offer treatment to patients that are elective treatments. You don't need to get your teeth whitened, but a patient may want it. You don't have to replace that missing tooth all the time, but some patients want it, some patients don't. So that's where it becomes an art form and sort of solving a puzzle. And for dentistry, there are more than one right ways to do that.
Is it a profession, or is it both?
I would say it's a combination of the two. First and foremost, a lot of people mention to me, as a dentist, we get to work for ourselves. I say that's false. We have a boss, and our boss is the patient. If we don't have a patient in the chair, we can't pay our bills. So keeping a patient satisfied and happy by giving ethical treatment, by having an honest and trustworthy relationship, that gets a dentist to run his business well. If we're doing unethical work, then there are, at least in the GTA, a stone's throw away, you can find 10 different dentists. And if we can't keep our patients, we can't keep our business. So yes, dentistry is a business. There's a cost of doing business, but that's done by keeping patients happy, and that's done by keeping the treatment honest and ethical. Nowadays, with the internet and with the number of dentists available and the information out there, patients come to a dental office more educated than ever before. So you'll find the dentists that are most successful are also the ones that are keeping their patients happy. So the business side of things flourish all because of our patients. They're our bosses.
Dr. Munga, is dentistry a profession or a business, or both?
I would say dentistry is clearly both. There's an element of the dentistry itself, the treatment that we give to our patients, and there's an element of running the business as well. In order to give patients the quality of care they need, expect, and deserve, we have to invest in certain technologies, quality materials, and a staff that's qualified to administer that care. And that comes with a cost, but the cost in delivering good care that patients are happy with is what drives a dental office from being a successful business and a successful vehicle of a healthcare treatment facility. And you can't have one without the other, because there is a cost in doing business, but that cost is recovered by offering treatment that patients want and deserve. So with patients that come into my office now, I would say they're probably more educated than ever. With the internet being a vast resource of information, patients know a lot about the treatment that we would offer them and why we would do it, the pros and cons. So the public is a lot more educated. And with that, they're more accepting of doing certain treatments because they see the benefits in it. That, coupled with the fact that dentistry has evolved in itself and has offered more options for treating a patient, this cycle of patient education and the evolution in the field is going to bring much more value to the services that we can offer them. And it's going to be a trend that gets better with time. It's going to be a trend where dental consumption will be more, but in a way that's...
Okay.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah. So we can use that in the voiceover then. We'll leave that. Okay, we'll use that in the voiceover. Okay.
Dr. Munga, how important is oral health to one's overall health?
Well, from the patients I've seen and from studies and numerous studies done in different fields of dentistry, the mouth is a portal to the rest of the body. Gum disease has been linked to diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and just from the patients I see, the patients that have the cleaner mouths have a better overall physical health. The mouth is the dirtiest part of the body, and if it's not maintained, there's likely other parts of the body that aren't maintained either. So if you address your oral health, you're sort of in tune and value.
Okay, well said. What excites you most about dentistry? What brings you to work every day?
For me, it's the patients. Like, where else can you get to know patients on a personal level very well? A lot of patients mention to me that they see me more than they see their barber, their mechanic, their family doctor, and you get a bond with them. You can see children, get their first cavity and watch them go through school and graduate. And I've seen patients of mine that started as teenagers, they're married now. So you develop a rapport with your patients, and you look in your schedule and you see that they're coming in today, and you're happy and excited to genuinely see them. That, with the fact that you're delivering care that helps them, that's a satisfying thing in itself. We do the best we can for our patients, and they appreciate it, and it gives you an overall feeling of accomplishment.
What would you look for in a dentist?
If I was a patient, I'd be looking for a dentist that can, where I feel the most comfortable. Right? You can go to numerous different offices, like I said, a stone's throw away from your house, but patients know where they're happy, where they feel at ease, because even for them, even for a patient, they're developing a relationship where there's trust, there's a financial relationship, there's a relationship where not only do they want to bring themselves, but they want to bring their family members, they want to bring their children. So in an environment where a patient feels comfortable, they feel like they're being educated, they can speak openly with their dentist, it's one where that will allow a relationship to be fostered and maintained long term. It's very easy to go to any office to get a toothache taken care of, but to find that dentist for long-term care is probably going to be the one where you feel the most comfortable.
How do you compare Canadian dentistry to the rest of the world, Dr. Munga?
I would say Canadian dentistry by far has standards that exceed a lot of other countries. I'm fortunate enough to be in an area where I see patients from different backgrounds, different ages, and their values of dentistry are different. When you see a patient's mouths and the kind of work that's sometimes done overseas compared to what's the standard in Canada, I can clearly say without a doubt that Canadian standards by far offer a patient better work, better services, longer lasting dentistry, and sometimes it's unfortunate for a patient who's had work done because they've invested their time and efforts to get it done there too. And if that work has to be redone because it was done poorly, then the patient suffers. In Canada, I don't see that being as predominant. I don't see the substandard work, and if I have to use that term, I will, that's being done in some of the other countries overseas. I think Canadian dentistry is as great as you can get in terms of delivering good care with good materials, good technology, and at the end of the day, the value in Canada for dentists allows us to do that. In other countries, they might value something else, and so dentistry takes a lower rung on the ladder. But in Canada, the value for dentistry is high, and that allows us to deliver that kind of care to our patients.
Timothy, there's a perception in the public that somehow a dentist is not a doctor. Is that true?
I think that's a terrible misconception. Most dentists in Canada have a degree called a DDS. And what most Canadians might not realize is that stands for a doctorate of dental surgery. It is indeed a doctorate degree, and they are doctorates of dental surgery. But more commonly, they're referred to as dentists. But please make no mistake about it, all dentists are indeed doctors.
How's dentistry in Canada compared to the rest of the world?
The average quality of dental service in Canada is substantially higher than it is in most of the rest of the world. There are exceptions in some of the more advanced economies, but the average quality of care and the average delivery level of dental service in Canada is substantially higher than the rest of the world.
Profits or ethics? How do you see dentistry is driven? Now, I'm going to redo this. Do you believe dentistry is driven by profits or ethics?
The key motivators to most dentists are indeed patient care and quality of care first and foremost. And that's where the field of ethics enters. All dentists are trained extensively in ethics and jurisprudence, meaning ethical practices, right from the school level, and they're reminded of it throughout their career. So ethics come first. But there is a profit motive, and there's a profit motive in all healthcare professions. Medical doctors, dentists, and there are many others to reference. We all have a profit motive to deliver quality care, but to provide for our families and for our staff, and to continually provide the best service to our patients.
Why does a patient get offered different treatment options from different dentists?
That's an excellent question. Patients are given different treatment options from different dentists because of the degree of experience of that dentist, the extensiveness of their continuing education, and even the number of years that that dentist may have been in practice. A dentist with 40 years experience certainly should be capable of offering a patient a much broader spectrum of treatment than a dentist with perhaps 4 months or 4 years of experience. So it's entirely possible that any Canadian can appoint to any number of dentists, and they should indeed expect to receive various treatment options due to experience, education, and continuing education.
That gives birth to another important question, Timothy. Does that mean Canadians should choose only experienced dentists?
I think that choosing an experienced professional is always a good choice, but today's recent graduates are exceptionally well trained. The Canadian dental education system is considered probably amongst the best, if not the best in the world. So a recent dental graduate in Canada is exceptionally well trained. Choosing a new dentist, a mid-career dentist, or a more experienced dentist are equally good decisions for the Canadian patient.
We also hear from public from time to time that a dentist is able to offer all services under one roof, whereas if they went to a physician, they get referred outside to a specialist. Does that mean a dentist, you get what I'm trying to do, so
I think the Canadian patient is very fortunate. Most Canadian dentists are capable of offering a very wide spectrum of treatment in their facility. Let's take going to a medical doctor by example. In 98% of the instances, my medical doctor is going to refer me to another procedure, to another specialist, which requires another appointment at another location. It's extremely time-consuming and extremely taxing on the Canadian medical system. Let's go back to dentistry. I can appoint at my dental office, and if I require various services or treatments, either my dentist can perform them for me with the ability of their very well-trained staff and with the use of the technology they have invested in, or they can have another procedure performed in their office by another specialist. I think that the average Canadian is very, very fortunate that they can attend to a dentist to receive a wide spectrum of oral health care without the need for leaving the practice and going to other facilities and taxing the Canadian taxpayer. Let's talk about household spending and how it relates to dental care for the average Canadian. When we look at the average Canadian household budget, we'll find many, many costs of maintaining a household and raising a family that far exceed that of dental care. It's fall that we're doing this filming. Let's take snow tires, for example. A set of rims and tires for the average Canadian car is $500 to $1,000, depending on the make and model of your car. Do you know that the average Canadian still spends less than $800 a year at the dental practice? Snow tires cost more than dental care. Yes, it's a safety matter, but is it a healthcare matter? I'd also like to talk about another part of the Canadian household budget, and I'm going to use my household as an example. I guess we should ponder the question, how much does the average middle-aged Canadian woman spend on hair care each year? Now, everyone has different needs and everyone has a different style, but I do know that my wife spends over $2,000 a year at the hair salon. Do you know that the average Canadian still spends less than $800 a year in the dental office? And we have to remind ourselves, 70 to 80% of Canadians have dental insurance that cover the majority of their dental spending. So in actual fact, the out-of-pocket spending of the average Canadian citizen who has some type of dental insurance, possibly less than $200 a year, I think that we can see that dentistry is indeed not an expensive part of a Canadian household.
What is the future of Canadian dentistry?
The future of dentistry in Canada is very bright. We have an aging population that needs more dental care on an ever-increasing basis. As we age, we need to have more time spent in the dental practice. That's a fact. Now, the dentists of Canada have been responding to an aging population and also to the demands that the patient is putting into them. And also to the demands that the patient is bringing into the dental practice. We want more comprehensive dental care. I would use dentures as a perfect example. Most Canadians, and particularly baby boomers, we don't want to suffer the humiliation of a denture. We have asked the profession to deliver an alternative to us. And the Canadian dentist and the dental industry has responded with the dental implant, which is a magnificent alternative to that of a denture. So we do believe that the future for the Canadian dental patient, in terms of the type and style of dental care they can expect, is very, very bright. The profession continually invests in technology, in training for the dentist, and in particular extensive training for their staff, such that the quality of dental care continues to increase, perhaps to the highest level in the world.
What drives a dental office? Profits or ethics?
That question is asked of a lot of professions on a regular basis. My research of the Canadian dental profession, and particularly meeting thousands of dentists in my 36-year career, is that there's such a thing as ethical wealth. You can practice ethics at the highest standard. This profession is reminded of this before they graduate, and they're reminded of their ethics on a regular basis. But it is ethical to be profitable. They have a duty of care to their patients, to their payroll, to their staff, to acquiring some of the best technology to deliver the highest caliber of care. So I do see on a daily basis ethics being practiced by this profession, yet the pursuit of profits should not be denied of any professional or any Canadian. Ethical wealth and ethics and profit can get along in union. Talking about an advocate, talking about standing up for them. So who's the advocate for the Canadian dentist? Who stands up for him or her when they're being criticized or attacked by outside parties? Well, naturally the dentist wants to stand up for him or herself, but they're restricted by their compassion for patients, overwhelms them such that they don't feel comfortable standing up and speaking to their business practices and speaking to their natural and well-deserved right to make a living. So they often fail to stand up in front of the public eye and defend the profession. That's not the way they're trained. That's not the way their ethics teaches them to respond. Now, there are professions that stand up for each dentist in Canada, but they have a mandate and they're dictated by committee and they have some political limitations, and it's sometimes uncomfortable or difficult for them to stand up to the degree that they wish to defend their membership. I have no such reservations, and I have no such restrictions. I believe in the Canadian dentist. I know that their ethics are at the highest level. And their motives for profit, well, they're legitimate, they're deserved. They need to be profitable to provide the quality of care that the Canadian patient expects. It's okay to be successful. And it's okay to be a Canadian dentist. Keep up the great work.
How has dentistry, in particular patient care, changed over the last 10 years?
Well, it's changed significantly. I mean, the first and most important aspect is that the scope of available services that are offered to patients today is vast. There are multiple solutions that patients have available to them for the same one condition they may have. The second one is that technology is expanding all over our society, but technology is also expanding within the world of dentistry, where there's so many things that we can do for patients. Like we've got early diagnostic tools to detect certain medical conditions or dental conditions at their earliest, most treatable phase. We've got things like computer-aided design milling machines that can be used within a practice to make better, stronger, longer-lasting restorative materials. And even lasers. Lasers are in dentistry today where we can use them to make procedures more comfortable, to stimulate the healing after the procedure, and to actually enhance the quality of the procedure itself. And actually, if I could add, something else comes to my mind, is there's a shift in focus today I find within dentistry from preventive medicine, from corrective medicine to that of prevention, where doctors today don't just necessarily want to wait until you have a disease or a disorder within your mouth. They want to try and find and intercept them at their earliest, most treatable phase. And there's many things that they do to focus on that. They also want to offer you long-term solutions. In other words, rather than just putting another filling on that tooth, doctors will look at things like your age, the average life expectancy, and they want to put solutions within your mouth that will last you a long time, feel comfortable in your mouth, work well for you, look good, and all sorts of other aspects. So there's much that's going on in the back of a dentist's mind when it comes to treatment planning and decision making. Doctors, if I could add, also realize that today, as a society, we're much more conscious of aesthetics or appearance. So when patients come into the office, they don't just want their teeth taken care of. They're also mindful of enhancing themselves, their appearance. So doctors focus on enhancing the beautiful and natural you. Providing you in beauty and health is a big aspect of dentistry itself today.
How is the customer service shift vis-a-vis a clinic to the patient today?
Well, it's much different today. I had a client once tell me, Peter, I've never seen 28 pieces of enamel walk through my front door. They're attached to a person with feelings. And dental professionals across Canada understand that they're not just providing treatment for corrective procedures, they're also serving the human condition, people's feelings. Dentists have created systems within their practice. They use tools and technology to really enhance the quality of the entire experience that patients are having. Things such as neck supports, TV glasses, so that you can watch television while you're having your care done, hot towels after the procedure. All of those things make dentistry and receiving your dental care much more comfortable. And as a profession, practices across Canada are moving in the direction of spa-type experiences.
Okay, that's perfect.
Nicely done. Wait, where are we going next? The relationship?
Yeah, between patients and dentists.
Because there's something important here related that I want to almost offset the documentary. All people have. Okay, got it. Let's kick it.
Describe how the relationship between patients and the dentist is evolving as a result of
all these changes, whether it's the technological changes from an internet age that we are in, considering Canadians are #1 users of internet, or the technological advances that we have inside these inside our dental clinics.
Well, the old school expert to novice relationship, where the doctor is God, and the patient is down here, receiving, trust me, I'm a doctor, take 2 of these and call me in the morning. It's faded. Today, doctors recognize that there's a big difference between compliance versus commitment. Doctors want to help people to feel committed to their care. And in order for that to happen, there's a term in dentistry that's known as co-diagnosis. Today's doctors involve people in the understanding of what is going on in their mouths. And it is that understanding that can help solidify decision-making in the hearts of the people that they serve. And really, ultimately, when it comes down to it, the same mouth in a different person can produce a completely different treatment plan based on the needs of the person attached to the teeth.
This is better than before. When I say that, I think you have already answered that. I don't want to get into that.
Yeah, it'll go maybe evidence-based dentistry. Get to the value of
that's exactly what I'm getting.
Let me feel that for a second, because there's a few main points.
What is the value of dentistry to patients today?
Well, dental health, and actually I have something, I want to read it to you here. It's from a certain public health unit that I received from my son's school, and it says, dental health contributes to general health and well-being. Dentists, the profession of dentistry, and dental hygienists realize that the mouth is the gateway to the body. We're just not providing procedures in people's mouths. The mouth impacts how people live and feel. And a dental professional's goal is to help people to eat, speak, and smile, and socialize, unhindered by pain, discomfort, or embarrassment. So dentistry really is a place where you can go to experience better quality of life, to experience a happier, more confident you as you navigate through life. I find that dentistry today can impact people professionally, socially, medically, and in all aspects of their lives. That's why it is so important to dental professionals that consumers, that dental patients engage in discussions about their needs so that treatment plans can be customized and suited to the unique needs of the person attached to the teeth. Canadian dentists are Canadian dentists are caring and loving people, right? That are really trying to balance the working of their business with their primary goal, which is to take care of the people attached to the teeth. And sometimes this part of it can be challenging for people, because I find most dentists, what they just want to do is they want to serve people in the best possible way so that they can walk out enjoying their quality of life and reaping the benefits of good oral health, which contributes to total health.
Is there a question you want me to ask? That question, that the voice, the words you want dentist to hear, forget patients. What would you like the dentist to hear coming out of your mouth, aside from what you already said?
Right. Do you know what? We nailed it. The big thing is...
Oh, I thought I made you nervous, but that's another story. So if you have 200 dentists in front of you,
right,
and you have to tell them about the value of what you do, how that translates into better patient experience, what are you going to tell them in half a minute?
Dentists today recognize, are taught in schools to administer the best procedures in a comfortable, caring way to patients. But the most important thing to remember is that when you're holding dental instruments in your hand, what you're in fact holding is the life and feelings of the person attached to those teeth. And value in dentistry is not just in the quality of the procedure itself, but it's in the quality of life benefits that your patients will experience long after they've forgotten that you placed a crown in their mouth.